After the rain finally returned to the land of Israel, the people celebrated, and the drought that had lasted for 3 long years finally came to an end. The ground drank the water greedily, crops began to grow again, and hope slowly returned to the nation. But even though the miracle on Mount Carmel had proven the power of God, not everyone was pleased. When Queen Jezebel heard what had happened to the prophets of Baal, she became furious. Her anger burned like fire. She immediately sent a message to the prophet Elijah. "By this time tomorrow," the message said, "I will make your life like the life of one of the prophets you destroyed." For the first time in a long while, Elijah became afraid. He had faced kings, prophets, and entire crowds, but now he felt completely exhausted. The long years of struggle, the confrontations, and the constant danger had drained his strength. So Elijah ran. He traveled far into the wilderness, away from cities and people, until he finally sat down beneath a lonely broom tree. The hot wind blew across the desert, and Elijah felt overwhelmed with sadness and exhaustion. He looked up toward heaven and prayed quietly. "Lord, I have had enough. Take my life. I am no better than those who came before me." Then he lay down under the tree and fell asleep. But as he slept, something unexpected happened. An angel gently touched him. "Elijah," the angel said softly, "get up and eat." Elijah opened his eyes and looked beside him. There, near his head, was a small cake of bread baked on hot stones and a jar of water. Elijah ate the food and drank the water, then lay down again. But the angel returned a second time and touched him again. "Get up and eat," the angel said, "for the journey ahead of you is too much for you." Elijah rose once more and ate and drank. The strength from that food carried him on a long journey that lasted 40 days and 40 nights until he reached a mountain known as Mount Horeb. There he found a cave and spent the night inside it. As Elijah rested in the cave, the voice of God came to him. "Elijah," the voice asked, "what are you doing here?" Elijah answered with deep emotion, "I have been very zealous for the Lord, the God of Israel. The people have rejected your covenant, destroyed your altars, and killed your prophets. I am the only one left, and now they are trying to kill me too." Then God told Elijah to go and stand on the mountain because the Lord was about to pass by. And Elijah did as the voice as instructed him. Suddenly, a powerful wind tore through the mountains. The wind was so strong that it shattered rocks and shook the ground. But the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind came a great earthquake that shook the mountain beneath Elijah's feet. But the Lord was not in the earthquake. Then a blazing fire swept across the mountain. But the Lord was not in the fire. After the fire, everything became completely quiet. Then Elijah heard something gentle and unexpected, a soft whisper. When Elijah heard the whisper, he covered his face with his cloak and stepped out of the cave. Again the voice of God spoke. "What are you doing here, Elijah?" Elijah repeated his earlier words, telling God how alone he felt and how the people had turned away from him. But God gave Elijah an answer that surprised him. "You are not alone," God said. "I have reserved 7,000 people in Israel who have not bowed down to Baal." God then gave Elijah new instructions. His work was not finished yet. He was told to return and continue his mission. During this time Elijah met a young man named Elisha. Elisha was working in a field, plowing with oxen when Elijah approached him. Without saying many words, Elijah placed his cloak over Elisha's shoulders. In that moment Elisha understood. The cloak symbolized that he had been chosen to follow Elijah and eventually become a prophet himself. Elisha left his work, said goodbye to his family, and began following Elijah wherever he went. For many years they traveled together. Elisha watched closely as Elijah performed miracles, spoke God's messages, and stood boldly against injustice. Then one day something mysterious began to happen. As Elijah and Elisha walked together, Elijah said something strange. "Stay here," Elijah told him, "the Lord has sent me to another place." But Elisha refused. "As surely as the Lord lives and as you live," Elisha said, "I will not leave you." They continued walking together. Again Elijah told him to stay behind. Again Elisha refused. It seemed as if Elijah knew that something important was about to happen. Eventually the two prophets came near the Jordan River. Elijah took off his cloak, rolled it up, and struck the water with it. Immediately the river parted, and the two men walked across on dry ground. On the other side, Elijah turned to Elisha and asked him an important question. "Tell me, what can I do for you before I am taken away from you?" Elisha answered without hesitation, "Please let me inherit a double portion of your spirit." Elijah looked at him carefully. "You have asked a difficult thing," he said. "But if you see me when I am taken from you, it will be yours." Then suddenly, something incredible happened. As they were walking and talking, a chariot of fire appeared, pulled by horses of fire. The blazing chariot separated the two men. And before Elisha's eyes, Elijah was lifted up into the sky in a whirlwind. Elisha watched in shock and wonder as his master disappeared into heaven. My father! My father!" Elisha cried, pulling the cloak from his master. Then Elijah was gone. With the cloak in his hand, he walked back toward the Jordan River. When he reached the water, he struck the river with the cloak just as Elijah had done. "Where now is the Lord, the God of Elijah?" he asked. Immediately the river parted again. Elisha walked across on dry ground, proving that the spirit of Elijah was now upon him. And so the story of Elijah came to an extraordinary end. He did not die like other men. Instead, he was taken into heaven in a blazing chariot of fire, one of the most mysterious and powerful moments recorded in the Bible. Yet even though Elijah was gone, his legacy continued through Elisha and through the generations who remembered the prophet who stood alone against kings, called fire down from heaven, and never stopped trusting in God.